does it say about BHP's internal risk management? The company says it sticks very strongly to a supposedly very rigid internal ethical corporate governance regime. What does it say about that?
Well, it does raise obvious questions, but not enough of the facts are on the table yet. I mean, ever since Octedi, BHP has been very stringent in terms of being a good corporate citizen, and they have global ethics teams, and they don't do political donations in Australia, and they tick all the corporate governance boxes. They even poached the former head of research at Risk Metrics to help them run their own sort of governance programs. So obviously it's a bit of a blot on them, but the detail is still a bit vague. I mean, some of the reports say they paid US $2.5 million to the Cambodian government for a bauxite concession. Well, most resource companies pay royalties or licence fees to governments.
Yes,
so then the question becomes...
Isn't this a separate sort of payment that supposedly someone in Cambodia has said, well, it was tea money for some other sort of social, local social thing, I suppose, something that was set up, and that, Cynthia, were you going to add something there, and that it actually was separate to the government royalty?
Yeah, I was under the impression it was $1 million for a government royalty and $2.5 million for this tea money, what they're calling tea money, but BHP is saying is a community development grant. And I think it raises an interesting question of what are these community development grants? Where are they on the balance sheet? How many companies who are doing mining or other development projects in Asian countries or other development?
Clearly a lot of companies do community development, and we know BHP Billiton does a number of them, and they actually end up going into community development, building wells or stopping malaria from spreading in the communities that they're involved in. But this one did seem a bit different. But Stephen, also, I mean, this only came to light after the SEC asked questions. So again, what does that say about BHP's own internal system of finding out whether these things are going on?
Well, it raises obvious questions, but I think that's probably the reason why it has received such enormous publicity, is because it's the US regulator, it's the SEC making inquiries. I mean, BHP has disclosed this themselves to the market. Interestingly, a few weeks after Don Argus, the chairman, has resigned. So often you get this with new CEOs or new chairs who come in, that you paint the last guy black, or you put all the bad news on the table up front, and then you move forward. So you don't know how the internal workings are going at BHP board level as to why they chose to disclose this now. But from my understanding of the facts, or my interpretation of what's public, I still am struggling to see where the huge level of scandal is. I mean, I'm a local councillor in Melbourne, and developers always give us cash or community assets whenever we approve any development. There's always a 5% share for the community to build facilities.
Yeah, but it doesn't go into your pocket, hopefully, Stephen.
Well, no, that is the key distinction, as to whether it has gone to a particular official and whether it is over and above what was officially agreed with the entire government. And people say the Cambodian government is pretty colourful, and BHP left in a great hurry. So you do get a sense, with the SEC having looked, that there is an issue there, but the dollars are very small. It's not like Stern Who, it's nothing like AWB and slipping $280 million to Saddam Hussein.
No.
But it's not even... But it still obviously has to be worked through, and it's very damaging for BHP.